Welcome back to City and State TV. Our guest here this afternoon really doesn't need any introduction, but I'm going to say her name, Bertha Lewis, Miss Bertha, whatever you want to call it. The good thing about talking to you, listening to you, is that you're the real deal. You call things as they are, and you don't beat around the bush. But I've got to tell you, you surprised a lot of people. You held a press conference in the past few days in which you came out like with both guns open barrel, and you just shot. Tell us, I know you've had the press conference, I know you've explained. I'm sure that you spoke to the mayor, Mayor Bill de Blasio, and told him, listen, how long prior to you deciding to go public with this have you had conversations with the mayor about the inequality or the ignoring
of minority and women-owned business? I didn't talk directly to the mayor. I tried to talk to the folks in his administration that I thought I should be talking to. I try to be respectful. You know, everybody knows I've supported the mayor, but I don't believe in like calling someone every 2 minutes and this, that, and the other. It's a big city to run. So those folks that, you know, I have a relationship with, that I signed to, and high-level folks, because I don't blindside people. And ever since February, in fact, when they had the Black, Latino, Asian Caucus weekend, I had done a preliminary sort of advanced copy of this report called Not Good Enough.
The myth of good faith and best efforts.
It's a myth. And so in February, at caucus weekend, I got with some of the mayor's people and I said, look, I'm still working on this, but here's some basic stuff. So you ought to know, heads up. Prior to us releasing this publicly in the press conference, you know, there was an article in the Daily News the day before, that Monday. No response.
Nobody called you?
No.
Bill de Blasio, I'm sure that, and I'm gonna put you on the spot now. I'm sure prior, as public advocate, he was calling you every other day.
Well, we had frequent conversations, but as I say, you know, in February, I said, here's the deal. What are we gonna do about this? To his lieutenants and consiglieris. Then right before the public release of this, once again, you know, because I will pull both guns, but I come in blazing through the front door. I don't come in through the back door.
No sneak attack?
No sneak attack, because if I'm wrong, just tell me I'm wrong. And so, I have not.
I'm sorry,
Nobody
Nobody told you, wait a minute, Bertha.
No.
You don't get it. We're going to be doing this. No one told you?
No. And so basically, what I've done is I want this administration to succeed. I really do. And so here is a hole that you got to fill. Here in a city that is majority people of color, over 65%, for minority and women-owned businesses to have to scrape and beg and grovel for only 4% of the city contracts is obscene, and it is disgraceful. And so I believe if your friends aren't going to tell you the truth, who will? I said we need a full-time chief diversity officer, someone whose only job it is to deal with this issue. When John Liu was the controller, remember?
Yes.
It was 2%. Whoop-de-doo, we've gotten up to 4%. But 96% of the contracts are going to male and white firms. So it's disgraceful. Not only do we need a full-time chief diversity officer, the person whose shop it's in now, Maya Wiley, who is of counsel to the mayor, but Maya is wearing 3 or 4 different hats.
And you're saying you need a person specifically addressing
exactly
the exclusion.
Full time, the exclusion, the monitoring of, the awarding of contracts. Their job is to do MWBE. Local Law 1 which people fought for in 2013, required a chief diversity officer. Scott Stringer's got one. DiNapoli's got one. So it's a little outrageous.
Tom
for
DiNapoli
the
being the state controller,
The state
Scott
controller.
Stringer, the New York City
Exactly.
controller.
And here's the thing. Also, not all agencies and authorities in the city are covered. It's like half of the authorities and the agencies are covered. So either you believe that this is a real problem or you don't. Either you believe that there's inequality and there's two cities going on here, or you don't.
Or it was just campaign rhetoric?
I believe that it wasn't, but here's what I know. And my grandmother used to say, not what you say is what you do. And I entitled this, Not Good Enough. Why? It has a double-edged meaning. One, it is not good enough what the city is doing. And number two, MWBEs are always told they're not good enough.
Wait a minute. Let me just take you back. To be fair to the mayor,
Yes.
Bill de Blasio, the guy you knew, the guy who was begging for this job, the guy who made all kinds of promises, the guy who we believe, or some people believe, those that voted for him.
I'm a true believer.
True believer. What happened to him? He can't be that much enamored about the position he holds. He's got to realize who put him there and who can take him out.
Well, again, I want him to succeed. I make no bones about it. And in fact, I'll go even further. I want him to be a two-term mayor because I think you can't do all the things that you need to do.
Of course not.
This is a big town. We also know that there are those in this town who are pissed off that he is the mayor. How did he make it when he was at the bottom? Well, he is the mayor. And we know that there are haters.
Get over it.
Who get over it and accept it. There are haters who want to make him a one-term mayor. And so I do think it is incumbent on those of us who have been out here as activists and organizers on the left. We have to speak up. We have to challenge folks. You can be the loyal opposition. This is a big town, a big corporation to run. You have all kinds of issues. All I'm saying is this. The MWBE issue is like a cancer, and it has been festering for years. Bloomberg didn't care about it at all. Koch, forget about it, and Giuliani was openly, contemptuous of it. All I'm saying is this, and city council, they go hand in hand.
They do.
If not now, when?
You have specific things of how to, it's pages and pages. The stream is like very specific. This is, we call it bruto proof. Bruto means dumb proof, dummy proof. You know what bruto means. So this is bruto proof. It's there, black and white. Now, the mayor still hasn't called you?
No. And I haven't given up hope, and here's why. I'm an organizer. The press conference is only the beginning. You call me now.
So there's a campaign.
You'll call me later. But you will call me.
And the more you wait, the less.
The harder it's going to be. And, again, I want to say this is a problem that can be solved. And also, this is something that the other administrations had contempt for. You can be a hero, you can do well, and let's not have the controller recognize this problem and have a chief diversity officer.
Is the controller doing better right now than the mayor is?
Well, they're two different jobs.
No, I understand, but in terms of
on this
issue,
issue,
the issue that we're
on
talking.
this issue, he is. But also, you have the state controller.
Tom DiNapoli.
And you have, as people know, a governor.
Be careful now.
That I accept as the governor.
Andrew Cuomo.
Andrew. that I think, to some impressive numbers. I do think that Tom DiNapoli, as the controller, needs to dig a little bit deeper into those numbers, and really needs to look and make that data a little bit more transparent. Who are these people? Where are they coming from? Where are these contracts being awarded for? What are they mostly subcontracts? Who's doing them? Are we still only giving contracts to a handful of approved folks? So I want to be able to toot good news and say this is good and this is solid. But the one thing that I would say is we need a little bit more transparency, Governor, and we can't just make assertions, because the Black Institute, and I mean my perspective is a perspective of how does every issue affect Black people. I'm an action tank. That is a think tank that takes action. And when you're a think tank, I've been putting out these reports.
You don't want them to collect dust.
I don't want them to collect dust, but also I want to be able to show people of color are not just marching around and screaming and yelling, saying, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. There's real data.
And we know how to fix it.
There's real research. There's a whole intellectual capacity. And all we're saying is, look, you can use us as a tool, or you can be the target of the tools that we are using.
Mayor de Blasio, Bill de Blasio, Scott Stringer. So I was going to use something very clear, but they're both white. Scott Stringer gets it, beginning to get it. Bill de Blasio, still a white man. So let me go there. I'll go there as a Puerto Rican. I've been hearing you laughing, but you know what I'm talking about. Is it the fact that comes into play? The fact that they don't get it, even when they're so sensitive, even when he's got the love of his life, even when he's got children that are born out of the love for that Black woman, he's still a white guy. So, and I've been hearing from Latinos, Puerto Ricans, and others, but a lot of the brothers and sisters, and I'm talking about at all levels, including some very, very respectful pastors who have very active, vivid churches, who tell me, who accept that. We talked this, and you've heard it before. Bottom line, he's a white guy.
Who's saying they're not feeling it?
Exactly. So you feel that too? Yeah, because I've heard it. They're not feeling, Bill de Blasio can talk a good game.
No, I've heard it too.
Okay.
And of course, you can have expectations up to here, and if you don't try to do it. But here's what I am more concerned about. I'm not concerned about one white man, even though he's the mayor. I'm concerned about a whole passel of white men that have the ear of this administration. I'm concerned about those white folks who are still in the administration, who have been there for a while. And you can talk about being progressive all you want to, but we're the permanent government. And so when we go out, we do stuff the way that we always did it. And also, there are many, 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 many white men and women in this town who will openly lead the parade of one-term mayor. And they don't care. Intentionally.
Gotcha.
So, that's Bill's birth. I think he's got a little bit more melanin than other folks because he's a Sicilian. However, I'm concerned about the hundreds of thousands and also the 1% of white folks who still have a grip on the real estate industry.
They're entrenched.
And so a lot of what people look at for MWBEs, for instance, is how many folks are involved in the construction industry. There's $1 billion worth of development going on in this town. Billions are flying out the door every day. Hudson Yards, no requirement for MWBE participation. Oh, you just make your best efforts. Good faith.
Trust me.
Trust me. So, but the other side of this is your offices are located, and my offices are located in Lower Manhattan, right smack dab in the financial district. And guess what figures are even worse? The financial services and the professional services contracts. When Wall Street is doing these IPOs, when we have brokers that are the go-betweens in all of these bond issuings that help to fuel the real estate industry, those figures are abysmal. So not only do you have a problem, and Councilmember Lori Cumbo pointed it out, the city has a 4% problem. But when you look down into that 4%, black women are 0.3%. And here's what's really outrageous. I had a very diverse group of folks on the steps of City Hall. Do you know, Mr. Puerto Riqueño, the goals for Latinos are non-existent. So not only do we have an overall problem of people of color, but the Indo-Asian community, immigrants, Latinos, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Venezuelan, whatever, they've been wiped out. You're at 0.3%. This is the other thing when you do your research and you uncover this. And so who does that benefit? If we have a little tug of war between black and brown, let's have them fight over these little crumbs of MWBE. This issue is like a Gordian knot, and the Black Institute is the sword that's here to cut it in half.
There's a National Institute of Latino Policy along with a, Committee for Equal Representation, I think it's called. And have you thought of maybe conversing and having...
Like I said, the issuing of the public report,
is the
press conference.
You have.
That's the shot across the bow. We take this issue seriously. So this is not, we're not one and done here. You must build a coalition. You must reach out to other folks who've been saying the same thing. You do have to keep challenging the administration. Meet with us now, or we'll be running up on you later. And not only that, but educating the public to this. I mean, you take upstate, for instance, Andrew. When you employ and contract with, as major contractors, MWBEs, the data shows MWBEs give jobs to everybody. So if you want to have another tool to help upstate, with their economy, go gangbusters on looking at MWBEs. And here's the thing also. It is unacceptable for you to say, I can't find anybody. Go outside the state. You're always talking about going outside the state. We have no bid contracts that go to folks from all around the country. We don't even know who these people are. There are MWBEs and minority firms across this country that you could bring in to partner up with MWBEs here so that you are interacting with folks. Do what works. So yes, I'm focused really on the city doing better, but the state can do better too. And Scott and Tom,
Napoli,
what they could do is put some of their money where their mouths are, because here's the thing. All we hear, oh, we have this program and that program. The biggest issues facing MWBEs, access to capital, people investing in them, and also having access to money so that they can have a bridge loan until they get paid. 1% of all the pension funds on the city, state, and the city and the state, just 1%. That's all we're asking for.
Start with the
Use
pinky.
that.
Start with
the pinky, and you use that.
Bertha Lewis, you've made a compelling argument here in the document, in the conversation we're having. I know you're going to reach out. In some way, I hope Bill de Blasio talks to you. It doesn't make any sense that he hasn't picked up the phone. He can't be shielded that much. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you back here, hopefully in a few weeks. After you talk to him, if you talk to him, you call City and State, let me know, so we can follow up. What happens if he doesn't call you? Just as an exit question.
Well, first of all, the coalition, as part of this campaign, is growing. Number two, you know, Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And in Game of Thrones, there is a saying, winter's coming. Guess what? Summer's coming, and we know when the weather turns, the state budget is over, the city budget will soon be over, and it's going to be the ruckus. So we can talk this thing out and help each other, but you can't put this genie back in the bottle. And you know what else? Especially when you see, everybody can see what's happening in this town. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke said there's a new bird in New York City. It's called the crane. Everybody can see it. It's in your face. And if you think that the city can ignore this, we have to bring the noise.
Bertha Lewis for City and State TV. I'm Gerson Borrero. We're going to have her back because this is chapter 2 coming up. So Bill de Blasio, get ready.